I think we all saw this day coming after the collapse of FTX that Binance and CZ have found themselves in the crosshairs of the CFTC for violations. They're getting sued by them for things that they're doing on Binance, violating some regulations and making the wrong people mad. And just off of this news, Bitcoin fell a bit, like $1,000, but kind of starting its move up again. Well, BNB has fallen. It's down like 6% around right now. So BNB, obviously the native token to Binance, probably going to suffer if Binance suffers. But for the CFTC, these are some of the things that they are going after Binance for. You can say Binance has executed commodity derivatives transactions to and for the people in the US since July 2019. But the company did not require its customers to prove identity verifying information and failed to put in place compliance procedures according to the lawsuit. So obviously, I think that's the big thing. Like Binance is supposed to be separate from Binance US, and there's a lot of things that Binance can do, like leverage and derivatives and stuff that US can't do. But the big thing that I think they're putting out there is that Binance allowed users and knew that people from the US were using VPNs to go on Binance and do all of this stuff, which would technically not be legal. But they just allowed it and let it happen. And they knew it was happening, which is why it's a really big problem. And you can also see a quote here saying for years, Binance knew they were violating CFTC rules, working actively to both keep the money flowing and avoid compliance. This should be a warning to anyone in the digital asset world that the CFTC will not tolerate willful avoidance of US law. So I guess they're using this as kind of an example moment, right? Binance, the number one exchange, the biggest guys right now. They are going to go after them and put the letter of the law down, bring the hammer down, because they want to make an example out of this to, I don't know, show that they have power or something, and try and make things more on their side, however they want things to be run, right? And this is literally the end quote here, saying a warning to anyone in the digital asset world to not tolerate this stuff. So I guess, Coinbase got their Wells notice, so they are going after a lot of crypto companies. They are going to do this. I mean, this isn't something that was shocking. Like, I think everyone who's been trying to pay attention has known that this stuff was going to happen. And if you're caught off guard by it, you're probably just not really paying attention to what's been going on. But some of the parts of this lawsuit are crazy. You can see this. Talking about Binance intentionally tried to hide the scope of its compliance program's ineffectiveness from its business partners. An example, Binance underwent a compliance audit to satisfy a request from Paxos, who is someone who puts out the BUSD coiners, somehow related to them in that. According to Lim, Binance purposely engaged a compliance auditor that would just do a half-ass individual sub-audit on geofencing to buy us some more time. So obviously not a great thing, right? Binance just saying, just get someone random, just get them to do a terrible job and get us more time to figure things out. That's not the signs of a healthy business being run. Binance is definitely not a healthy, not shady, transparent business that I think CZ tries to put out there that they are. They are very much a, just like FTX, shady company trying to kind of do what they want. And CZ is a shark. He knows what he's doing. He was the one who orchestrated basically the collapse of FTX. So he's not dumb. He knows what he's doing, and he knows how to kind of play this game. But you also got some crazy things here saying like Binance was trading against their own customers. You see Binance traded on its own platform through approximately 300 house accounts that were all directly or indirectly owned by Zhao, that's CZ, as well as accounts owned by Merit Peak and Sigma Chain. So this Binance or CZ or these guys were actively trading against their customers. I think it goes more into depth kind of here. Yeah, it did not disclose to its customers that Binance is trading in its own markets in its terms of use or elsewhere, consistent with its apparent attempt to keep its proprietary trading activity on its own markets top secret. Binance refused to respond to commission issued investigative subpoenas seeking information. So, this 300 accounts of whatever they were doing is trading against their own customers. That's what everyone's being said. So obviously not a good thing, right? This is kind of similar things of what FTX was kind of doing. and maybe not using customers' funds in Binance case, but trading against your customers is still terrible. You can see too here that Binance didn't subject the trading activity of these 300 wallets or house accounts to any anti-fraud or manipulation, surveillance, or controls. And to the extent Binance purports to have required its officers, employees, and agents to abide by a relatively new insider trading policy, Binance approximately, or their 300 accounts were exempt from that policy. So that is pretty, just easy, like coincidence. What a coincidence that the 300 accounts apparently that were trading against their users, they put them and say these don't count towards our new policy, but everyone else's does. It's a little weird. And then also you got the last kind of big thing that I've seen here. The CFT is alleging that Binance funded terrorism, literally saying that employees said we see the bad and we close two eyes. So I guess they know what people are doing with the money, which is probably the big problem there. Just like if you can't control what people do with the money, just like a bank, if you go to the ATM and you take money out of the ATM and go buy something illegal or do something illegal with it, the bank can't really be held liable for that. But if they knew you were going to do that, if you walked into the bank, said, hey, I'm going to go do this with the money, withdraw and walk out the bank, maybe they could be held more liable. That it's kind of weird. I know that this is a big thing that everyone wants to push on crypto and stuff, that it's all for terrorists and this stuff, when in reality it's not. I mean, maybe some random cryptos, but Bitcoin's not. It's not the smartest way. If someone is using Bitcoin to do something illegal, they're not very smart because it's a public blockchain. You can literally trace everything. So, but this is obviously not a great quote. We see the bad and we close two eyes. That's not what you want to be saying. And CZ responded to everything saying 4, which references his tweet here with number 4, ignore FUD, fake news, attacks, etc. Which I think if anyone is ever saying, oh, that's just FUD, but they aren't rebuting or talking about the points someone's making and proving them wrong, then it's probably not FUD and it's probably got some merit to it. So this is pretty concerning. If you look at CZ saying, oh, it's just FUD, but he's not really poking any holes into it. I mean, he has a response here too. He put out, his response to their complaint, basically talking about everything. But this is him talking about the accounts, saying, personally, I have 2 accounts at Binance, one for the Binance card, one for my crypto holdings. I eat our own dog food and store my crypto on Binance.com. I also need to convert crypto from time to time to pay my personal expenses or for the card. It also goes on to say here that all employees have a 90-day no trading rule. So if you buy something, you can't sell it for 90 days to discourage trading and stuff. But that is interesting that nothing in here mentions the 300 accounts that were mentioned before that were trading against their users. It's just kind of, ignoring that. And he says, yeah, I have 2 accounts, but no one's talks about. He doesn't say they don't exist. He doesn't say that they are made up and that they don't exist. He doesn't say they do exist. He doesn't talk about them. So maybe there's some merit to those accounts actually being there and trading against their users, which would be a massive problem. That would be terrible. But I don't think this is a super shocking thing that nobody saw coming and everyone's taken abroad by this and it just caught everyone off guard. If you're paying attention, Binance was getting ready to probably fight this stuff, and that the government and these bodies were going to start going after Binance, especially after FTX failed. They put a huge spotlight on this stuff, and they started going after everyone. Coinbase got their Wells notice. Binance is being gone after now, so obviously nobody's safe, and all the conspiracies flying around, who knows, could they be right? Absolutely. I don't think you can say that they're automatically wrong, but crazy times. If we see Binance go down, short term, that's not going to be a fun thing. Long term, not going to really matter. For Bitcoin, for all these other crypto things, probably going to matter a lot. But in Bitcoin's case, not really going to matter. Hurt short term, not matter long term. That's going to do it for this video. As always, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video.